Stop. You can't. You can't. That's not how we look.
all those
We're
plans
recording.
went right out the window.
all the plans are straight out the window. Welcome to the Cruxman, and we are the Cruxman. Oh,
round 2.
You know what?
Let's do it.
I gotta start it right.
Oh, you ain't pour yet. Oh, it's a beer.
Nope. Yep.
Oh, I thought you were doing whiskey. Well, come by.
Well, I would love to do whiskey, except see you in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Except that I'm on the road, as you can tell, being in the hotel behind me. So it was whatever the lobby had for this particular episode. So
understood.
Yep. Yeah, I thought about grabbing a bottle somewhere, but I wasn't sure I wanted to hurt that bad tomorrow.
This is probably a bad idea on my part too. But you know what it is? What it is. I'm gonna survive. I got 11 hours to sleep, so I'll be good. All I gotta do is just get in the sky. That's it. Get in the sky.
And you're heading to
Germany. Yeah. Good old Germany. Let me.
Last week we talked about that. You thought you may be heading to the East Coast, but you were going to far surpass that.
Yeah, I'll end up on the East Coast though. After that, go to DC and then Atlanta.
Ooh.
And
I
then
love me some DC, man.
Back home. Man, the DMV is popping. I do. I'll link it with my sister. She's out there. Both of them actually. So I'll see them while I'm out there and I haven't been back there in a long time, so it's game time. I'm ready.
Nice.
I'm ready.
Nice.
And it shouldn't be too bad tomorrow. I'm mixing my booze with this lovely blend of all the good things. It's not supposed to be a green smoothie, but it came out other colors. I think it's because of the blueberries. But it's good.
Ew.
It makes things pass through the body smooth.
You know what? I'm gonna take your word for that. No proof needed. No proof needed. Understood.
Comes out just like this.
Okay. For those of you looking for dietary, for those of you looking for dietary suggestions, yeah, Salt's got you. He's got you. Good to go.
Yeah,
fucking clowns, man. All right. So I'm just gonna come out. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there right now. For whatever reason, this topic keeps getting brought up to me. I don't know if it's because I have made the choice to share my life with a female in the form of marriage. So I'm just coming out and ask, what is your stance on gender roles in the household?
Well, 3, 2, 1, honestly, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think when it comes to gender roles, whatever position, so if I'm whether it be man, woman, I think where you kind of get in where you fit in, right? So I personally, and this is just my style, I don't think, when you're talking about the roles, right? I don't believe that a woman has to sit there in the kitchen all day, take care of the kids all day. That's just not my style. I didn't grow up like that. Me particularly, even my daughter, I want her to have options. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the gender roles, I need a 50-50. I'm going to do laundry. You can do some laundry. But I think eventually you kind of find a rhythm with it, a nice flow with it. So I have a tendency to I don't mind doing dishes. I like doing laundry. What I hate doing is dusting. So if she can back me up on that, awesome. What I hate doing is floors all the time. Drives me insane. Sweeping, mopping. Yo, you can handle that. But I'll meet you in the middle with everything. And then it might be 80-20 in some regards. Maybe she's does a lot more in this area and I'm slacking, but then I'm crushing in this other area because she doesn't particularly care to do that. So when it comes to the gender roles, but at the end of the day, there needs to be who's going to have the final say. We can discuss things, we could talk about things all day long. I'm with that. I need this, you want to get feedback for sure. However, ultimately, who's going to make that decision? And I think that's where, I guess, what the roles is. You can't have all these chiefs and no Indians, who's gonna fall back and be like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. I'm with you. Like that's right.
So I mean,
I don't know.
there's a balance. I mean, there's certainly a balance, but there's also like there's many levels to this whole gender. One, I mean, just equality, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a base level, but like when it comes to gender roles in the household, um, for me, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, because like let's say you have a breadwinner, right? You got a breadwinner, then you got somebody else that most of the time stays at home, uh, with the kids and stuff like that. So I'm same as you. Like I love being home. I don't mind doing laundry. I don't mind doing dishes. I mean, bath time, bedtime, dinners, whatever, like all that kind of stuff. For me, I think it's more of a, you know, when dad is home, reverting back to just being a mother and a wife. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Versus wearing all the pants, right? So,
Yeah.
when dad's gone, you got to be, the disciplinarian, you got to be the loving mother, all these different things.
Yeah.
And
She
my
gotta hold it
wife
down.
is right, but she's no slacker by any stretch of the imagination, right? So, she's very, she's doing just fine on her own, but there comes a time like, I mean, shit, man. The way I was raised was, if you're messing around, I'm gonna call your dad, and he's gonna take care of this when he gets home, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was like the scariest thing in the world to me. Like, shit, mom's gonna call dad when he gets home. It's game over, right? For me, there's no amount of begging, pleading, praying. Jesus is not taking the wheel here. I'm going to take
Yeah.
all of it. Like
I'm
that.
dead. I'm gonna start my obituary right now.
Yeah.
you know? Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you know. So, I'm wondering what these like modern day like gender roles, what it even really looks like. I mean, when you got everybody out here, I mean, grinding away uh to feel self important, I guess, because I mean, you got these women out here that some of them they don't want to be just a house mom, they want a job and they want to do this and that. And I personally, I fully support it 100%. But you gotta have a balance with your significant other. And I mean, it's everybody's going to be
Agreed.
different. Everybody's going to be different. Um,
I no,
yeah,
I agree. I think that's how there has to be balance, right? So if when you come back, and I think this, that's what I was saying before, you kind of get in where you fit in, and you kind of everyone kind of finds like their role in that. So yeah, she's holding down the fort, doing all the things while you're gone. And then you come back, and now all of a sudden it's like, whew, he's back. Instead of just kind of calming down, be like, oh, great, now I got someone to share the load with. She's still going hard, and you're just like, yo, like I don't need that. Let me do me, and then you go back to being just mom or whatever. I mean, I can see that being tough for
yeah,
sure. Because then you look at some of these guys. There's men out there, right, where they're not necessarily the breadwinner. They're at home, they're taking care of the kids. They kind of switch the roles with like the mom. Like me, I couldn't do that. I'm gonna go insane. We are gonna have to get a babysitter. Yeah, I cannot do that. I'm not built. I tried that for a week with my daughter, and I failed miserably because I was out there with like the moms. We're at the park, and then at first I was like, "Man, this is awesome." Like yeah, I can do this. And then day two, I was like, "Okay, this is it's I like this free time. This is nice." And then come day three, I was like, yo, I need to go to work. Like, this isn't gonna cut it. I was like, I'm going insane. And I love spending time with my daughter, but I was just bored. I'm changing diapers. I'm, you know, feeding her macaroni and doing this. And I'm watching these stupid cartoons. And I missed being at work. I missed being with the guys. I just missed the grind. I guess I think I was used to a different kind of a grind. So yeah, immediately put her little button in daycare, and then that was it. But luckily, with me and her mother, we never. She was fine with me doing a lot of, I guess, like some of like in terms of like the vision. I was like, "Yo, this is what I want to do," and she was like, "All right, cool," and she was just with it. And then so like anything that deviated from that, I would bring it up, and she was like, "Okay, you know what? You're right. Cool." Like in terms of like saving money, let's get X amount of money saved. Let's do this. Let's do that. So there was no bumping of the heads. She knew, like for me, when Anabe was little, changing diapers, that's fine. Hey, you stay asleep. I had the last two. I have no. I want to pull my own weight, especially when it comes to like taking care of the kid, taking care of the house, and all that. So I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of when I think when you have like, it's the thing is like, like your wife, she's a very strong-willed individual. You know what I mean? How do you turn that off just because you just showed up? You know what I mean? Like I could see that being
that's one way of putting it.
You wouldn't be able to just turn that off necessarily, especially if she's used to just kind of dictating her own terms and saying, okay, boom, boom. She's trying to give you marching orders, and you're kind of like, hold on a second. I'm the man of the house. I'm giving you marching orders.
Right. So there becomes almost a battle, a war for power
struggle.
right? Like who has what. So I personally, I think reverting back to a more traditional uh, gender role, if that's really what you want to call it in the household, is important, right? I mean, for balance. Now, I mean, I understand not everybody is out here, traveling the globe, bouncing around city to city all the time, gone 3-4 days a week, whatever. I mean, it's that whole grass is greener on the other side, right? Like I can look at somebody who's got a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They sleep in their own bed every night. They got nothing to do but watch football, drink beer, hang out with their kids on the weekends, and go, that sounds pretty amazing, right? But they might look at what I'm doing and they're like, what I do sucks compared to that. Like, I wish I did that, So there's whatever. The grass is always greener, I guess. You got to appreciate what you got. So, but when I come home, I prefer a more traditional type of stance, right? Because one, I mean, if we're talking about just equality as a whole, women can't be men. They just can't.
Well,
I don't care what they pump in their system. I don't care if they're starting to grow facial hair or they identify or whatever else. Women cannot be men, right? Um, and truly, especially, let's say in the traditional household where you have the man is the man who thinks he's a man and a woman who's the woman who thinks she's the woman, and they're parents of little people, uh, I mean, those little people, in my opinion, need to look up to that to understand kind of like to have balance in their life. If mom is always wearing the pants and pushing dad around, those little girls, in my mind, are probably going to grow up to be women who treat men as, let's just say, less than equal, right? Like my mom pushed my dad around so I could push you around. And if I don't get what I want from you, I'm going to put you down. And then I'm either going to boot you or you're going to walk away. But because of the type of man that you might attract at that point in time, he's just going to cling on. He's going to cling on. He's going to be this little bitch of a man, hanging on to you, boohoo crying when you try to walk away from him. But we have to be honest, like part of that was established as a child from mom being overbearing to dad or trying to wear, a different pair of pants when dad is home. Now, I say a lot of things. Okay. You know that. I do care. And I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and that's all great too. What I don't understand what I don't understand. I don't know what I don't know, right? So like there's men out there, like you were saying, these house dudes, house dads, you said you tried it. I've done it, for a couple days, a couple weeks. I mean, my wife was gone for this thing I think it was last summer. And she ended up being gone for like 3 months for this course that she was in. And so I was dad for 3 months. It was all right. Wasn't my preference. But some dudes like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I have a hard time and this is the look. I invite comments. I invite people to throw spears and cast criticisms. But um, if you're a dude and you're okay sitting on your ass at home while your wife is out making the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have no desire, let's be clear, right? You have no desire to do anything beyond sit at home and live off of your wife. You are not a man. You might be a dude and you might be her husband. My opinion, you're not a man.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the foundation and the rock of that relationship. She is. And she's
Mm-hmm.
only going to keep you around as long as it's convenient. Then she's going to boot your ass when she finds someone that
Level
she
up.
can rely on. That she can rely on.
I mean, some guys are maybe they got that the Ali Wong. She always talks about how she was how she caught her a Harvard grad, and she's like, I'm supposed to be sitting on my ass, and he's supposed to be out there working, and now she's this super successful comedian, super hilarious, and her husband, is he stays at home. He's just kind of chilling. I mean, I for me, this is just me. I can't. It'd be hard for me to do that as well. I just wasn't built like that. It's just not how I operate. I need to go out and do something. Now, I don't. I don't have to make all the money. She can be. She can make more money than me. I don't care about that. I just need to do something for myself that gives me purpose. For me,
Yeah.
staying at home with the kids, I guess once again, I'm just not built for that. I'm not that type of dude. I love spending time with my daughter all day long. And me being in my position now, this is what I do anyway, where I'm the full time guy when she's with me. I don't have anybody to balance it off of at all, which I would prefer that. I prefer that anyway. She has the balance of both parents. However, she just gets me to herself because, I'm solo, and then she has her mom to herself. So I like that situation. But to do that full time and not have my own work, something that, I could take pride in outside of my daughter. Because to me, is that doing that full time, it's just not, that's just not how I envision my life. Because I know women that are just like, they just want to be great moms. Like that for them is everything. I've never had that vision. I want to be a great dad, but I'm not sitting home doing that, like living that lifestyle. It's just not for me, which I think that's the beauty of the whole man woman dynamic, where dudes that are like us, we're like, bet, let's go. Like we'll go through the trenches. We'll, we'll walk through fire, like all kinds of wild things just to provide for
I
our
thought we weren't
family.
going to talk about that.
Talk about what?
That's how we walk through fire.
Oh, I mean, yeah. But Jimmy, like these things, like we're willing to do, but not to say that the mom won't do that, but that's what like how like we're built. And then a lot of times, like I said, I've got homegirls that are just like I'll stay at home, like that's fine. Let him go out there and go do that. I'll stay at home all day. I'm like, well, I'm glad because now we're not bumping heads. If I have a woman who's as headstrong as myself, then we're gonna need a babysitter because she's gonna go dominate in her way. I'm gonna go dominate in my way, and then our kids, we'll take care of them together. But during the day, we have to go be beasts in our own right, and then we come home, we
Okay,
be beasts as parents.
so let's take that a little bit differently, right? So because that is I would actually subject that is more my reality right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm out doing my thing, my wife's out doing her thing. When we come home, we dominate as parents, but when we come home, there has to, and I think this is where I was been going with this whole time. I'm not saying that there can't be women out there that can't be monsters,
Mm-hmm.
beasts. I mean, in their own right, absolutely, we see them, right? I mean, we've worked with them, we've hung out with it. Like, there's some incredibly driven women out there in all aspects of labor force and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
I think my point that I'm going after here is that when you are at home, you're at home together. What does that cohesive unit look like, right? How do you get to cohesion? I mean, I think you have to.
Someone's got to submit on
If
some level.
someone has to submit,
Absolutely.
someone has to submit. Whatever
Yeah.
it may, you can't have two alphas in the den, right?
No. I mean, yeah, because now you're gonna just bump heads all day, and it's nothing but war nonstop. Right. And I think traditionally that is the role. Like, well, and this is where I disagree. Right, like where they say like women are supposed to submit. I don't. I think it's just the word submit. It makes women feel like, oh my god, I have to like whatever he says, I have to do it. I have to start skipping. He says jump, I say I say how high. That's not in my mind. At least, like I said, once again, the way I grew up, the submission is more so okay. Like I think if in general, a woman is going to have no problem submitting to a guy that she trusts his decision making. This is how I think about it, right? My relationships with women, when it's decision time, they're comfortable with me saying, okay, this is what I want to do. Boom, 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 boom. And they're like, well, okay. And I think the more they trust you, the more they feel comfortable, they can relax and let you be the man. And then she could be a woman. This a great book called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, something like that. But The Way of the Superior Man is that's what it's called. But he talks about this, like the masculine and the feminine, and how when a man is not being a man, a woman now has to take more masculine energy on to basically make up for his lack of being a man,
Right.
If a man is truly in his role, right? And he's like the he maximizes it and is the epitome of that energy. She can now relax and become more of the feminine, which is her true energy. Now there are some women that naturally have more of a masculine energy, and vice versa. Men that have a little more feminine to them. But the roles are going to be what they're going to be based upon what you're giving to a relationship, And some people, like, you got some women that if they've never had a strong male figure, they're going to take on all that masculine energy and be like, well, this is just life. I've had to do both. I couldn't really show my feminine because I've had to be out a warrior like a dude out there, And then you got some women that they had that, so they could always just kind of be in that mindset of being a woman. I don't know if that makes in the book, he makes it like a whole lot, sense with it, but, and not to say that, you're not, the thing about it is that you are a man. And when you speak, things happen. That's not your style. But if you're bumping heads, maybe she still hasn't completely turned off. You're talking about how old is she? I mean, how do you just turn that off? That all that conditioning to be like, I gotta boom, 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 boom. She's a hard charger. She's a hard charger. It might take a little more massaging, maybe on your part to be like, hey, listen, hold on a second. Like, chill, like, hear what I'm saying. And then she's like, oh, well, okay. Because she's just used to just kind of moving off instinct, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't mean to like use my personal relationship so much as the example, but it's more just like, I have to imagine. I mean, I have no problem using my personal life as some of the examples, but I have to imagine there's a lot of guys out there that have a similar, struggle, you might call it, come home, long day of work. I mean, I was having this conversation earlier, like, or well, let me go back. Like I mentioned earlier, like, mom calling dad while he's at work. I knew that, like you said, I'm dead as soon as he gets home. That's it. Because dad was the disciplinarian. But that's in a Southern Alabama upbringing, right? Where dad, goes to work. He's got a man job. He's gone from 7 a.m. till 6 o'clock at night. When he gets home, he sits in his chair. Dinner gets served. You know what I mean? Like, you don't sit in dad's chair. Not a. I didn't really grow up in a house where you don't speak unless spoken to necessarily, but I definitely grew up in a house where if dad talked, you listened. If dad said something, you listened. And there wasn't like, do I have to repeat myself 3, 4, 5 times?
Unless you want to miss some teeth.
No. Right? Yeah, that's
absolutely.
It, right? Like,
that's how I came up.
Yeah. I mean, my dad's way of saying something twice was, you got hit, period, dot. Not
getting them hands.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Can I say that these days? Can I say that? Can I say?
Yo, I think a lot of kids need to get their asses whooped on a regular basis in this world today. Because, there's a lot of little hellions running around. And then you got, like, I don't know. There's people losing their minds out there, and I'm not a huge fan because that's how I raised my daughter.
Well,
I brought her up the same way I was brought up. With mine, my upbringing was a little more intense than my daughter's. However, she definitely got the gist of it. Luckily, and this is the beauty about girls. Girls are super smart. She picked it up like boom, and I didn't have to do a whole. It was just minor maintenance after that. You know, from like diapers. She already knew. Okay, like when Daddy speaks, you know what? I probably should listen because it's going to lengthen my life for an extra year at least. I mean, I know he loves me, but I know he doesn't play any games. And so even to this day, if I have to like, if she sees me kind of just doing like, and I have to say her name, she's just like, oh, okay, you know, hey dad, can I help you out with something? Like, is there something I can do? You know,
I don't know what to do with my hands, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to do something with my hands.
She already knows. Like, if she messed up, she already knows. That's why I'm like, yo, you know, handle your business. But yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe like I'm dating a doctor. You know, beast in her own right. You know, she does her thing, and I love it. I like not just women, but people who have something going on, not just twiddling their thumbs waiting for a handout. That's what I like. To have I like folks that are ambitious and motivated around me. That's like it's a thing for sure. I think most people feel that way, you know.
Yeah.
So to be with a woman who has had the discipline to get to where she's at now, where she's just, you know, out there taking care of folks and doing all those things, I think it's awesome. I like that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to she has no problem letting me drive the relationship, if that makes sense. There's no, and if she has an issue, she'll bring it up. I mean, and I'll definitely be okay. Let's get to the table. Let's talk about it. I like the conflict. That's me. I think I told you this before. I like women who might borderline cut me. You know, because I'm just like, because it makes me have to think. Like I can't just be running around out here reckless. She might kill me because now she's.
Did I bring my first aid kit? Oh no!
I'm over here stitching myself up with a needle and thread, and like, oh man, you know. I think that, but it's when it gets to that point. Now I'm threatening her ability to trust me. That could be that what that is. I don't, you know, when she gets pissed off, like, you know, if you mess around on a woman, she's coming after you because it's like, yo, like I trust you, sucker, and then now she wants your head. So when it comes to even stuff like that, I welcome that because now we have to talk. We're sitting at the table. I have to now sit back and think about, well, was this the right move? Like she's coming after me pretty hard. If she's, and obviously she's not, we're on the same page. So now it forces us to sit down and talk about the issues at hand, and we need to come to a consensus. You know, I think, and that's why I'm saying, like in terms of the submission, they're not stupid. They're very smart. If you're speaking sense, they'll know you're talking sense, and they'll be like, okay, fine. And I think that's that submission piece, right? Like people look at it as submission, but she's not dumb. She's just kind of like, all right, look, that sounds good. Like, cool, let's just do that. Absolutely. When you start doing dumb shit, now all of a sudden she's like, okay, I can't sit back anymore and let this dude drive this family into the ground. And I said this before, like I think a lot of these guys out there in positions of power, a lot of them are there not because they are that smart. It's just because they have an outstanding woman who's probably over there talking to them, stroking. Well, I don't have any hair, but stroking their hair, like, you know what? If you were to do this, he's like, you know what? Damn, that's a good idea. You know, and then like that's how it's going. And then, or she's helping to build up the confidence in him to make a decision one way or another. But women are not dumb. My family is full of boss type women, and they just boom, 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 boom. So like I don't believe in like, when I start hearing all this, you know, women can't do this, can't do that. I'm like, well, I don't agree with that. You know, I don't agree with that. Just because I've seen like this is what I grew up around was powerhouses. You know, so uh, I hate the fact that they make a lot of times like watching TV stuff like they make women sound like they sound like they're weaklings. Like they don't have a brain. Like they're not dudes. So it's not about physical strength all day long. That's how we operate.
Right.
You know, women don't do that. They have their strengths and their gifts. It's different from us. we're guys. We're dumb.
We're borderline knuckle dragging. Yeah, you know, just morons. We're cavemen, and I'm you know what? I've accepted that at this point in my life. I'm okay being a caveman. And I will give, you know, my wife every bit of credit where credit is due. She's definitely the guy or the guy. That was a fucking weird ass Freudian slip. My wife is definitely a woman. 100%. She identifies as a woman. She was born a woman. We've made babies the biblical way. So it's all good. She is definitely the woman standing next to me, behind me, supporting me in a lot of different endeavors. This one being one of them, you know, and I could see it on her face, and I was like, hey, so you know that podcast Salt and I have been talking about for years? She's like, yeah. I was like, we're doing it.
It's happening.
She's like, were you guys gonna like do any planning or? And I was like, no, we've been planning for 4 fucking years, right? Like
freestyle this bad boy.
But immediately she's like, okay, well, I've done some things, da 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 da. And she starts, you know, firing off things to me anyway, unsolicited but appreciated, you know, just little stuff to like, you know, things to think about, whatever else. Like a real man, I disregarded all of her input.
Out the window.
Just
in one ear and out the other.
See it.
Oh, you were talking? My bad.
But you know what? You know what? I know where it's at if I need it. It is out that window. I'll go pick it up in the backyard and dust it off a little bit. And let's see. This says she was right. And this says she was right. And this. Oh, we did that one. We did that one. Good for us.
It worked out.
So, hey, all right. You know, no, I just, for me, I mean, that power balance, I guess, you know, I mean, you know, this is not and I hope no one really takes any of my comments as I think women should be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. I mean, between the two of us, they're the only ones who can get pregnant. So, you know, you know, the law of odds there is against the woman being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen versus me. But there needs to be balance at the house, right? I mean, so, you know, and that's just it. I mean, let me spin it this way. I'm gone for a 3-day trip, right? When I leave, we're on a good note. When I come home, we're on a good note. The kids haven't been too crazy. Mama's had a good couple of days while I was gone, whatever. That balance, in my opinion, should not be off. I should be able to walk back into the house. You know, like I haven't seen everything that's happened over the last couple of days, but I should be able to walk into the house pretty easily, you know, sit down with my girls, have dinner, and things just kind of be chill, right? At that point, I don't think there should be a huge struggle for, you know, well, you missed this and, you know, the little one I was acting like this and, you know, this, that, and the other, you know, whatever it may be. So walking into a balanced household. And I will even further it by saying, because I'm always willing to grow. I think you know that. I know my wife knows that because I tell her constantly. After I say I'm sorry, I'm like, I'm always willing to grow. So I will strive to be better. You know, that's my thing. And I'm going to deviate for just a second. She told me the other day, she's like, you say that all the time. I was like, say what? She's like, that you're going to get better. I'm like, what's the alternative? Right? What's the alternative? What are we doing here? If we're not all striving to be better and to grow ourselves, you know, to be better for the person you're with, your significant other, whatever, to be better for your children so that they have a day-to-day constant reminder, dad is always growing. Mom is always growing. It's and for them at this point, it needs to be, I need to keep up with them, right? Because, you know, and you got to put it back on them though, too, right? You got to motivate them, reassure them, let them know that they're doing all right. You know, it's not easy, man. It's not easy. I feel like I've talked in circles a little bit tonight, but being a modern day man is not easy.
To your point with the growth piece, absolutely. If you're not growing, you're going to stagnate. And if you stagnate, you're going to get left behind. So if your wife is growing, getting better, improving on a regular basis, maintaining herself in these ways, and, expanding her mind and evolving as a human being, and you do not, I think it's inevitable. This is how people get outgrown. Like, she will outgrow you. And I think this is how, like, down the road, this is why people divorce. Because you didn't grow in the same direction. This person went and did this. This person went and did this. And now you got two separate people now living in the same house. And it could now create even more conflict. And that's tough. I think you have to grow together. But in regards to, I think with the man, woman, so like when you come home, and this is like for me, I think when I come home from something, anything, I think like the role of the woman is to make a man feel even more like a man, whatever that means, to stroke his ego, whatever. If you know who you're dealing with, you're going to do those things that makes him be like, I feel even more so like not to say that I feel like a man, but I feel great in this relationship. She makes me feel wonderful, whatever that is.
She validates me, right?
Yes, 100%. And vice versa.
Real quick, there's a thing I heard the other day, and I think this is a very powerful statement for me, right? Mm-hmm. When a woman and a man get together and they develop a relationship, right? Immediately upon acceptance of that relationship with the other person, and I mean like an actual true relationship, right? Emotional, spiritual, all the things, not just physical, but that is important as well. Immediately, like that, the woman becomes that man's weakness and the man becomes her strength, right? Mm-hmm. So if the woman is not upholding that man, right, he is going to become weaker because he now relies on that strength from her, right? Because she is now his weakness. If she's upset, he wants to solve the problem. We all know how that goes most of the time, right? Oh, yeah. But that's what we are built intrinsically. Like, that's what we want to do. Like, I want to solve your problem. If you are hurt, I want to take care of you. If you're hungry, I want to feed you. I want to go out and provide, whether that's emotional,
physiological,
physiological, all the things. Emotionally seems to be the hardest one to do, right?
Yeah.
If she's starving emotionally for whatever reason, whatever has tripped her switch that day, and he's like, babe, it's logic. There's no logic here, right? So that's a difficult one, right?
Yeah.
And then, on the other side, the woman looks at the man as her strength, right? He is the rock. He has to be the rock. And if he's not, she has to find somewhere else to latch on to, right? Mm-hmm. So really what I'm saying is, stability, that balance. Is the balance different for everybody? Yes, it is, 100%. Absolutely. But if you go back to a more traditional role in the relationship, it makes it a little bit easier to find that balance and that stability. Let the man be the rock. Let the woman be the emotional support that the man needs to feel like a man, which is what you were saying earlier. I can tell you what, right now, if I come home and my wife is upset, I'm upset. I don't even know why I'm upset, but I'm upset. I'm upset that I can't help her to not be upset, right? And when she's upset, call this a selfish thought. It's really not. This is just, the give and take, the ebb and flow of a relationship. If she's upset and I can't solve whatever it is she's upset about, I know that I'm not going to get what I need to feel validated as a man on multiple levels. Starting with the fact that I can't solve her problem. So now I feel like I'm failing. But then, my emotional strength, the person that I depend on to make me feel like a man, doesn't have the energy or whatever else, the mental fortitude in that moment to make me feel like a man because they're going through something. So now my cup is getting emptied too. So I don't feel like a man because I can't solve a problem. My cup is getting emptied. And it's just a fucking spiral, right? It's very difficult, man. And so, we've talked about this before. When I can't solve a problem and you find me outside with a bottle of whiskey, it's because I'm solving the problems for myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I have to.
Yeah.
Because I have to.
This
trying to find peace.
When I was this pastor that I used to like I'm not a churchgoer. That's just not me. However, I know truth when I hear it, and it makes sense to me in this brain of mine. And granted, I was young at the time, and I was going through what I was going through in a relationship. But the pastor said the man is the thermometer to a woman. So basically, if you're hot, she's hot. But he's the temperature regulator in the household. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, but for me, as fiery as I was, being the firecracker that I can be, I could not handle that type of responsibility to gauge, to manage another person, a woman's emotions. I was like, yo, no, that just wasn't where I was at. So for me now, older, in the relationships I've been in, and granted, not to say that I my patience is still very thin. Let's just be clear. But my daughter has given me a longer fuse in this older body of mine. A little wiser, a little smarter, and I move different than how I used to be. But so, for instance, in terms of like me, like I was saying before, I think a woman, her role is to make a man feel like a man, and the man should make a woman feel like a woman. And they should be very comfortable in their roles because they're able to maximize that energy that makes them their best selves for that relationship, individually and for that relationship. For me, if my girl's been out there in the world going just hard in the paint, right? Dealing with all the things, and she's managing doing that. And she comes home and she's frustrated. And I see this routine. We've lived together for a while, and I know her flow. When she comes in, especially if I have the energy to do it, and even if I don't, this is just what I want to do to get her mind right, right? For me, I'm all about keeping your head in the game. What's it going to do? When you come home, this should be your place of peace that you can retreat to away from the rest of the world, where you can pour that glass of wine, turn on that Netflix show, and zone the out. Like that's how that should be. So if, say, like for me, if my girl comes home, it's a Friday. I know she's been getting just beat up all week long. If I can make sure I can get home in time, and I would plan this ahead of time, I would make sure that she has a tub ran with her favorite little scents in there, lavender, whatever, and have that going for her. When she walks in the door, I already know she's going to just start offering the hat. Just take your clothes off, go hop in the tub. I just want her in the tub. When she's in the tub, I'm going to now bring her a glass of wine. Here's your wine. And now for me, I'm already mentally prepared because I already know where this is going. We've done this before. I already know what she has been dealing with out there. And especially me now, I'm like good enough in the head where I can take myself out of the equation and focus on her. Because I know if I focus on her, then I can get back to me. So I'm going to give her that glass of wine, knowing that this is her zone. This is what's going to get her back on track, where she's no longer feeling like she's getting beat up. She's now getting something back. And I'm going to sit on that toilet and be like, so what's going on? And when that starts to happen, if I can make her laugh a little bit as she's offloading, all of a sudden that whole week of stress it's gone. It might still come up, but her whole mood has now switched because I dictated that. And then vice versa, if she understands me and what I need, when I walk in the door after a long trip being on the road, she'll give me what I need, whatever that might be. If I just want whatever it is that I want, she's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And I can already tell her, she can already hear from like the tone of my text or even like my phone call or whatever. Yo, man. Or I'm just beat up walking through the door. Like, shh. She'll be like, hey, let me take your bag. If I'm coming in from a long trip, you take your bag. Don't worry about it. I got the laundry. Go get yourself reset, whatever. She'll have that whiskey. Hey, here you go. Knowing that that's my zone. And I'd be like, I come into like I said, a place of peace. I'm retreating home and I've got it's catered to me, So like, that is what I like. If my girl's been cooking all week, whatever. Like, hey, listen, hey, sit your ass down. I got this. Let me do. And this is like where the 50-50 comes in, right? It's not going to always be like this. But if we are relying on each other to keep ourselves just going day to day in this hustle that is constantly beating us up, right? This rat race, then I shouldn't have to come home to a bunch of nonsense that's external that we both can't control together and maintain together. So I think that's where there is give and take. There's a time when the dude has to fall back. But if he's being a man, he's going to take care of his woman, like you were saying. He's going to take care of her in the way that she needs to be taken care of. It doesn't have to be necessarily I have to go out there and go bring back food or whatever. It could just be the fact that, hey, just relax and just know that this world is not burning down around you. I got you. I'm going to hold you down. Relax, sip some things, change, get back into that good feminine mood that you want to be in, and let me handle that. If you don't, we don't have to talk about, you can offload and blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to solve your problems. I just want you to drink that wine, and let me, and I'll sit here and I'll listen, and I'm be like, oh, okay. And once you've gotten all out, maybe cried a little bit, maybe I'll top you off with a little, and then we're going to get everybody right. And then just like that, with a good 30 minutes to an hour soaking in a tub. I'll say like this: I love a good marination. That takes my whole. I'm so zoned out. I don't even know where I'm at half the time. I don't even want to get out this tub, But so I mean, like I think that's the balance, knowing what people need. We've talked about this before, like love languages. I don't need someone to tell me how much they love me. I don't care. I wasn't built like that. You ain't got to touch me. You ain't got to do nothing. I need you to do things. Which is why I said what I said in terms of running her a tub, getting her a glass, all the different things. That's how I express my love, to let you know I love you. That's how I care for you, is doing those things. Mm-hmm. That's my operation. That's how I operate. If a woman was to come to me and tell me, oh, tell me about your day, I don't care. I need you to do what you know and figure that out. I don't need to talk to you right now. I need you to shush and let me zone out. And then I will eventually come to you and be like, man, so this is what's going on. But out the gate, I'm not trying to talk to you. There's nothing for you right now other than me getting possibly aggressive. And you don't want to hear that. So let me be quiet in this corner. Let me sit in my own hell for a little bit. It'd be great if you had that glass because I'm going to go pour it myself. But if you know how I am, if you know how I operate, why not preemptively strike and get ahead of it? Get ahead of me losing my mind when I come home.
What a concept, right? What a concept.
And for me, I'm all about preventative. It's like going to the gym.
That's being truly selfless in a relationship, though.
Right? I think that's how it's supposed to. I think that's how it should be. I think that's how both submit on some level. But I think it's that you should be selfless. You should be selfless. Yeah. It should be everybody's all in. It's not about you do this, you do this, you do this. Because now you're talking about it's very one sided. It's not a relationship. Now it's a dictatorship. You're telling me what I should be doing at whatever you want. Like, hold on a second. Like, no. But if we both fall into our roles, no words need to be said. You see me flowing, I see you flowing, and then we just kind of tweak it as it goes. But there is no bumping of the heads. You tell me that. Because, like, listen, I don't need you to tell me nothing. Independently, I'm already on point. So, like, we're trying to merge two worlds together. So, like, I don't need you to tell me nothing in terms of how to make this thing work. I just need you to get on board and shut the hell up. And if you have any inputs or whatever, once we've talked about it, that's law, case closed. If I'd agreed on it, we both agreed on these things, and that's it. Shut it down. Don't come at me over and over and over because now I'm going to get pissed. Now we're doing this dance that I'm not into. That's me. I get frustrated, which is why I do these different things, because I get frustrated with that.
I like what you said earlier. One, I love everything you just said, but I like what you said earlier about the preemptive attack, right? Like, and you meant that in a really positive way. I mean, truly, like that selfless relationship stuff. Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, I'm not the best at it, right? I often, tell myself like, oh man, I'm so busy with this, that, and the other. And then, what I should focus on when I'm home doesn't get focused on necessarily. Right. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I'm constantly trying to get better, that type of thing. But I love that mentality. I mean, and you've heard me say this before, and I've said it to my wife, if we don't have a really good reason or excuse for not giving the other person in the relationship what they need, then what are we doing here? Yeah. And I don't want an excuse. You know me, I don't operate on excuses. Just don't fuck up in the first place. I don't want apologies. I don't want excuses. I'm going to tell you how I feel, fix it, and we'll move on. End of conversation. We don't need to talk about it. I feel this way. And in my mind, that's it. There's no conversation beyond that, because I'm not allowed to tell anybody else, or I'm not allowed to dictate to anyone else how they feel. right? Mm-hmm. That has been a constant in my entire life. People are like, you can't tell me how to feel. Okay, understood. So on the rare occasion that I pop up, and I let some of the emotions that have been brewing for 30 plus years down here, and I let one of them slide, don't fucking try to make it a conversation. Just give me what I need to fucking suppress it.
Exactly.
Because that's how I operate, right? Yeah. Give me what I need. Give me whatever that love language is. Give me that touch, that whiskey, that top off, whatever it is.
The blessing.
Yeah. That you already know I need. Because here's the thing. We already know the end result. I get what I need. And I'm not just talking about sex, just so we're clear for anyone who's listening out there. I'm not talking about just physical acts of like, oh, yeah, don't submit to me as some sex slave, although I'm not against it.
I'm not going to argue.
But that's not role playing. Sounds like fun. Right. There's other things that I need in the relationship. So if you've seen both sides, the one side where you give me what I need and the other side where you don't, knowing that the don't side is hell for everybody, why would we ever go there? Why would anyone ever go there? Right?
Yeah.
Suck it up, right? Suppress the ego, if there is one. Right?
Definitely is one.
Submit and submit to your significant other the way you know you need to. And then they are going to submit to you. As soon as one person starts slacking, the other person will start slacking. That whole cup thing, I had a friend of mine, he told me a long time ago, he's like, yeah, my wife and I, we always try to fill each other's cup every day. I was like, the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about filling a cup? He's like, our emotional cup. Like your emotional cup. All right, you're gonna have to run me down this a little bit before I bite off on it. But he did, and I did. I bought off on it completely. He's like, nah, it's just like a metaphorical thing. It's like same thing we're talking about. She knows what I need to feel validated in this relationship. I know what she needs to feel validated in the relationship. So every morning we validate each other, however that is. He goes, and then we start our day with a full cup. For him, it could be a kiss as he's going out the door, right? That intimacy, that touch, a kiss and an I love you, you're awesome, you're gonna kill it today, that whatever words of affirmation for him, I guess would be one of them. And for him, that's all he needs, right? And how much time did that take? 10 seconds?
Yeah,
maybe a couple of steps to the door, a couple steps to the couch, whatever, And for her, her thing is gifts. So maybe he got up a little bit early, like he does anyway as a man. And the gift for her that day was he made breakfast. So breakfast was ready for her. Coffee was made, and maybe whatever, a new book on a fucking iPad or something for her to read. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just make believing right now, but that's what she needed. Her cup is full, starting out the gate in the morning. His cup is full, starting out the gate in the morning. Life is easy. And it takes about this much effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you already know, after a certain amount of time, you already know. If you're with somebody for 10 fucking years and you don't know what makes them happy and what they need.
You never paid attention. And you don't
never
care.
paid attention. What are you doing?
You never gave a shit, in my opinion. If I have to explain to you what I need after 10 years especially, you never paid attention. You never cared. In my mind, right? Like if you don't know that this is what I like, you can't anticipate my moves. Like for me, like I like to watch who I'm with. I see how they move. I know what they like. I'm taking mental notes all day long, which is why, especially like women that I date, they're like, oh my God, that's such a thoughtful gift. Well, I don't know, because you mentioned it 6 months ago. I just made sure that I kept it up here so that when it's game time for me to purchase you something, I know exactly what to get because I know you don't have it. And it's something that you've always wanted. I know that's something that you really, I want to play to people's interests. I don't want you to get something, I don't want to get you something that I like because you don't give a shit about what I like. You like what you like.
Yeah.
So it does, like a little bit goes a long way. I don't have to buy you flowers every day for you to feel like, oh my God, like he cares about me. He, all like if I'm with a woman, she likes that I'm physical with her in public. If I don't do that, she's probably thinking like, well, what the hell's going on? But if I get like the occasional slap on the behind, which I like to do from time to time, she's like, oh man, like even as much as she might think that, people are looking, she loves that though. She loves that I consider her to be mine, and I don't care how I display that, whether it's in public or private, whatever. She likes that. Like, we are together. Like I'm showing affection in public. So I'm going to do more of that. I want to do more of that so that there's no doubt in her mind. Cause I don't, if that reassurance thing is something that you need, but I can only show it my way. This is like the thing. Like for me, I'm not a words guy, but I know that there's some way in my love language expression that is going to translate hopefully to yours. So if it's intellectually, we could talk that. If it's physically, we could do that. But me verbally saying it, I've gotten better with that over the years because I make it a point to do so for my daughter. Because with my kid, I don't want that to be something that she's just like, well, I never got that from the person who I wanted it from most. Once again, preemptive, right? I'm taking all the excuses that I've heard from women that I've met over the years. Not saying this is the only one, and it's not, but women, they're always saying like the relationship with their father was very important for them. And the things that they either wish that he did do, that he didn't do, or that the things that he's done that they loved, I make sure I've implemented all that wisdom and guidance from these women and implemented that into my daughter. And we have a beautiful relationship right now. So to any of you ladies, you guys already know if you're watching this, thank you for the last, all of you that I've met. I've taken all these notes. You may not have thought I did, but I took all those notes and I've applied it to my daughter. And she and I, an awesome relationship thanks to you. So much appreciated. I didn't get it from no book.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Salt. It's beautiful.
There goes me saying something nice. It's not often that I do that.
That was very nice. Yeah, it was touching. It was touching. So let me wrap this up. Then I'm going to take a couple things that we've talked about on over the last hour, and something just kind of hit me a minute ago. If you're giving the other half of your relationship, your partner, right, your better half, if you're giving them what they need, that gender role discussion works itself out, right? If your wife knows that you like to be the man and you act like the man, right? That's step one. If you act like the man and she knows that you like to feel like the man and she gives you that, then you are the man. And she is submitting to you a little bit, because maybe she wants to dominate in whatever way, shape, or form, but you're the alpha. She needs to submit that and let you be the man. On the other side, if she wants to feel more like a woman or feels like she doesn't have space to be the woman, you have to give her that, right? So meaning if from the time she wakes up to the time she goes to bed, it's laundry, dishes, kids, food, school, sports, cleaning, working from home, maybe she's got a 9-to-5 as well, whatever it is. So by the time the end of the day comes, she hasn't had time to feel like a woman. Then don't expect her to be a woman. Create that space for her, right? Get up, do some laundry, pick up the house, take the kids to school, pick them up from school, take them to sports, give her some time to be the woman that you want her to be. And I think that's where that balance comes in. You really have to truly appreciate the person that you're with to support them being the person that they want to be.
And you know what? Like a lot of this, and I've said it before, and I know this from my own personal experience. You cannot love someone if you don't love yourself. So it's hard to be selfless,
right,
when you are so concerned about your own welfare and livelihood. So if you are in your own head about all the things that are going on in your world, how can you detach yourself from you to focus on them? You can't, because you are a priority. Right. So everyone caters to you because you are completely selfish in that regard. Now, once you've kind of got your own kind of flow, you're very comfortable in your own skin. You don't have all these other things pulling you a million different directions in terms of, well, do they think this? Who cares, right? You kind of shut that down. Now you can see the person what you got in front of you, and you can now be more selfless and give in to them and cater to them Now, granted, not everybody deserves this. This is to be clear. Like, not everybody deserves it. However, you can do that easier if you already love yourself. Now you're just expressing more of what you feel for you to them. I want you to feel like I feel. So let me do these things for you. Like, this is what I do for me. So like for me, I already know my zone alone. I already know that. I know what I need. However, a lot of people do not. And nor have they had someone help to reveal that to them, what it is that they're into. So a lot of times, like if I'm dating someone, I know my world, I know my zone. I bring them into what I like to call salt world, and for me, it's a very chill place. You come in, it's gonna be adrenaline. It's gonna be, I like motorcycles and I skydive, I do all these different things. However, it's fun, it's chill, it's relaxed. It's kind of like I don't really make plans. There's no itinerary. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. Well, let's go start this bar. Let's just start having a couple of drinks there, and then we'll kind of flow and see how we feel. But it's very lax. They don't have to make decisions. I'll make the decisions.
There's nothing lax, chill, or otherwise about motorcycles and skydiving.
Well, that's why I said it's adrenaline. It's adrenaline, yeah. But it's going to take you out of your comfort zone a little bit unless you're into that already. But I want you to experience life because this is like what I like to do. But once again, like this is my zone. Now, if you have a zone where you relax, I am a chameleon in the way. I can entertain all that. Whatever you want to do. You want to go have a mani-pedi day? I'm right there with you. Putting the paraffin bag over my feet. I'm over there watching TV. Got them ladies over here filing down my nails. I'm doing all that. Absolutely. I'm all about the pampering as well. I'm game. But once again, it's knowing what she's into, her knowing what you're into, or you guys figuring each other out but having a good time doing it. But I do think that like it all begins with you got to know who you are. You got to love yourself because you cannot project that to anybody unless you've got that set up internally. It's an inside out game, not an outside in. Nothing out here in this world is going to make you happy. You have to be content in yourself and your own soul. And then now you can now project that out. And that's something that I've had to learn the hard way because I've been in some dark places and I had to learn that truth for myself. When I hear other people talking, I'm like, I would have to agree when they're talking this stuff because there is no other way about it. And I think a lot of folks out here in this world right now are miserable in their own skin. I think that's where you get all this.
God. Yeah, they are.
This identity crisis and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying that people like, if you're a woman, I'm not going to get into all that. Like that's next level. However, if you're comfortable with who you're as who you are, there is no space for the hate that emits from a lot of these folks' mouths. And I don't care where you are, like what position you're at, politically. That has nothing to do with nothing. It's that you're just a miserable individual at the end of the day. So I think people need to do that so that they can show love to other people. This is why like I can go out into the world and I can be polite to folks on a regular basis. I don't care what their attitude is because for me, I'm already stable. I'm good to go. So I can say, hey, how you doing? And then I can see like a scowl go to like a, hey, how are you? That right there could change their whole day, right? So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But if you could do that for you and get yourself right, your partner will feed off that because now you can be more focused on them and help them to get into that mental space that you're at. And then this is the gift that keeps on giving. Boom.
No, completely. I got one more thing to say, and then we should probably wrap it up. You put the man in mani-pedi.
Absolutely.
As soon as you said that.
Yeah, hey, especially with these big old feet I got these 16s, right? And these ladies are sticking this little, like couple quart bag over my foot. And they're like, sir, your foot's very big.
Covers a toe. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what else to say. So like I got like my heel and like, half my foot hanging out the bag. And she's just like covering that up with like a rubber band. I'm like, well, it is what, at least my toes are going to look great. These heels, she has to get that file out and start kind of shaving it down. But yeah. Hey man, I mean,
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, no, man, an hour went by fast. That was quick. Holy smokes.
It was.
Good deal.
I think this was a good one though.
I know. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think this is a great come up from the last one. For those who survived the first one, we appreciate that. Worked out some
Thank
kinks.
you for sticking with us.
But I think this was good. This is a great topic. Great topic. Because this is something that I think a lot of folks will appreciate and at least give them some perspective from a different, I don't know what they've done, read, or what their folks that are closer to them are telling them. But hopefully, if they're receiving good advice from those that they've, care about, that are in their circle, hopefully this kind of just reinforces that, and it kind of pushes them to act in a different way. And a lot of this is just growing up. You got to mature. You're going to have to probably burn down some great relationships in order to find the great one. For me, there's women that I've met that they met me too early. I was out of my mind. I was crazy. And it wasn't until now I met them older that not only do I appreciate women on another level, but the relationships I have are more stable just because I'm right. I'm better now. Like, I'm not that I'm better now, but I grew up.
I had to grow up. That's what you were saying earlier, man. And I mean, not to belabor the point, I guess, but dude, I was single for most of my 20s, and I really had to get to a point. I went through, like you said, some dark places as well, and it was all me. It was all me putting myself in those dark places, but I was blaming everybody else, man. Like, and again, that is very much another topic, and maybe we'll get into that in episode 3. But yeah, until you learn to love yourself and you take personal responsibility, dude, you have no business trying to be intertwined with someone else's life,
nor make it a munchkin. Because them kids show up and they're just looking for a complete person, like a person who's already, they've healed themselves in whatever the way they needed to. They care about themselves, so now they can give, once again, all that love to that little person. And these kids are showing up, and you got people that are broken, or or just in a very poor state of mind, and that kid suffers because they're looking for one thing, but they're receiving another different kind of energy, and it sucks for them. And that was kind of one of the reasons, like, when, like, I remember my kid and her mother, when we split, it tore me apart. I didn't like that. However, it was better in my mind was that, you know what, at least when my daughter is with me, she's going to have a happy dad and not a miserable dad. I'd rather be apart and happy for my daughter's sake, as opposed to being in a relationship where nobody's happy, but in particular her father, me thinking on my, from my point of view, and I am basically present but absent, if that makes sense. I'd rather be absent but very present in my daughter's life in all the ways that are good, than be there and I'm just like this drone, miserable, barking at her mother, because I got energy. I like to bark, so all these different things. I would rather her see that and let that be her reality. So you gotta, life gives you things and you have to figure it out, but it doesn't have to be some death sentence. It's all about, how you interpret it, and what truth, what wisdom can you extract from the negative? Because the negative is nothing but class. People look at it as like this bad thing. Oh, this happened to me. Okay, hold on a second. You're looking at it wrong. What are you supposed to learn from this? What are you supposed to gain from this? Why suffer for no reason? That's stupid. When you go to college and it sucks, you suffer, but you at least gain from it an education, a diploma, right? So same thing in this life. The education is the wisdom gained now. I had this experience. The only reason why it was hard because you never had the experience. You had to figure it out. Once you figure it out, now it's easy. And I think that's part of, like, once again, the self-love. Once you know how to take care of yourself, and now you see the world just different. That's why I'm big on, people reading books. I was anti-book for like the longest. I read gaming magazines when I was a kid. However, I thought that from when I started reading, I started living other people's lives, and I started gaining all that information into this head. So now I'm starting to see all these different perspectives that I could not do in just my one lifetime. I gained all these other lifetimes in like a couple days. So now I'm looking at, okay, this guy's thoughts, this woman's thoughts, and I'm just like, and it's making my head just like boom, 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 boom. So now all that is I'm getting the cliff notes to life. And if I can implement it and apply it, I just skipped ahead. You know what I mean? As opposed to folks that are waiting for life to keep dictating to them and them having to react. For me, I think that when you start reading about other people and the things that they've done or whatever the topic is, you have now, you've skipped, you're more proactive about your approach as opposed to being reactive.
You're also doing yourself a disservice if you don't. right? I mean, I had a friend of mine one time. He said, he goes, "Hey man," he was trying to make a similar point. He goes, if there was a book out there, and I could guarantee you, if you read that book, the book was called How to Make $1,000,000, and I could guarantee you that after you read that book, you would have all the knowledge you needed to go out and make $1,000,000. All you had to do was do it. Would you? And of course, I was like, yeah, of course, why not? Right? You know, and I have read some of those books. Okay, implementation is easier said than done sometimes, but the point is the knowledge is there, right? So if you're suffering in some kind of way, you know, whether it be in your relationship, in life, with work, whatever it is, you know, you're just at a stage of life where, like I was when I was 28, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. And I was very successful at 28 years old, but I didn't know where I was going because I had nothing that resembled a girlfriend, you know, let alone a wife, someone I could make a life with, have kids with, because that's something I always wanted to do, you know. Obviously, I got there. But yeah, 28 years old, which I've also have been told is when the man's brain fully develops, you know. All the things finally come together around 28 years old. And I started to panic. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I went into a very dark place for a little bit. And what I thought I had under control, I didn't. Um, I had this fear of being alone all of a sudden, right? Like it was something that I had a little bit younger in life, but I kind of overcame it. Mm-hmm. But then I realized I had this harsh realization where I felt like I was alone, you know, even when I was with other people. I was like, I'm alone. And I don't like to move alone, right? I like to move with other people, you know, whether it's going to a bar or whatever else. And it took a while. It took about a year. It took till I was about 29 for me to finally move beyond that. And I would push myself in different things, you know, just dumb stuff too. Like, you know what? You have a fear of being alone, yet that fear of being alone is causing you to stay at home alone because you don't want to go make a move out into a public place where there's people by yourself. It was a very weird type of thing. But after a lot of, you know, reflection and whatever else, I got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm just going to make a move. And then all of a sudden, everything it got really calm. I could move down to whatever. Again, the example, I could go to the bar down the road from where I was living at the time, just meet random, you know, patrons sitting there having a drink, whatever it was, have a great conversation, go home, you know, whatever. But I could also just sit at home, watch a movie, have a glass of wine, and be totally fine. So, you know, and that kind of dips back into something we were talking about a little bit earlier that we talked. So it would be on another episode. So maybe this will be a bit of a two-parter. But
yeah,
I had to get my mind right because even though at 28 I had the realization I'm alone and I don't want to be. I want to have a family one day. I had to get my mind right before I could even try to invite that into my life. And even after I invited it into my life, it still took about 2 years before my wife came along, and rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely a process. But hey, whatever, you know, things that are happening at the crib, it'll work itself out. I mean, the thing about it, when you quit, you're out the game and it all falls apart. So keep hammering it out. It takes two people to fight for a relationship. If someone leaves the ring, now you're by yourself and that's a wrap. So I say keep attacking it from all the angles. Keep getting frustrated because eventually you're going to come to the realization, you know, it'll be resolved. You know, like, you know, nobody created electricity overnight. It took a lot of failures. It took a lot of like frustration, all that. However, eventually it happened. Same thing I think with relationships. You got to just keep attacking it and be relentless.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if you're relentless, they'll stay in it too. And if they give up, then you got all the information you need to know. You know, it's not a bad thing at that point. So like, well, all right, you kind of showed me what it is. I can't fight. I can't make anybody do anything. You know, so
nope.
If she's in there and you guys are going to battle, it's actually a good thing because you know she cares. You know, and she's in it for the long haul as well. So, yeah,
I'm gonna use that next time we get into a fight and be like,
I
know you're upset because you love me.
And quickly, I watch project. It's gonna diffuse whatever. She's like, you know what? Shut up. And it changes the whole conversation. You're like, and
you say
I
that
win.
because you say that because you know my wife, right? You know. I told my wife many times, like, I'm like, babe, if you want to win the argument, just take your top off. Period. Dot.
Case closed. And I'm gonna say, okay, whatever it is. Oh, you wanna do it?
Yeah.
Sure. As you're sitting just like
you
this.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I suck.
What was I thinking? I don't even. Yeah. What were you even? Yeah. Sure.
You know what, babe? We will have chicken for dinner.
I mean, listen, we're simple dudes, man. Simple beings. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot. But then, like I said, those that know, they know. And, you know, women know what time it is. They know what they got over us. It's all good. So,
all right, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It has been a pleasure indeed. You know, it truly. No, this was good. I had a good time. So, hey, let's do it again. Do it again soon. Hey, folks, we'll see you next week. We're gonna keep them pumping. Episode 2 in the books. Yo, man, come by.
Yeah, for those listening, please leave comments. If you disagree with what we say, bring it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's talk.
Let us know.
Let's have that discussion.
Let's have a conversation.
100%. Yeah, I mean that the back and forth. I'm all about it. Let's do it. Because we're out here. We're trying to learn too. We're expressing ourselves. We're telling you what time it is with us, where we're coming from. So I want to know, like, if you think that I'm completely off base, this dude's an asshole. Shit. Absolutely, I'll take it. And I would love to reply to you, Michelle, Cynthia, perhaps, Devin, Miguel, whatever. Holla at me. Let's chat. Let's talk about the pros and the cons, though, right? Let's talk pros and cons, right? That's not. I mean, because I'm gonna come at you with that, right? Let's talk pros and cons.
If anyone pops up in the comments and calls you an asshole,
that's gonna be the first one I'm gonna reply to.
That makes 3 of us.
Oh yeah, it is what it is. You
know? Then we know they were listening. Yeah, exactly. We know they were listening. You were paying attention. Yeah.
I wait to the very end to call you an asshole. Like, as you should. I appreciate that dedication. So, hey man,
cheers, my friend.
Come by. Catch you next time.
We'll see you in the morning.
Absolutely. All right. Safe travels home.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
Bye.